Hey, Vader here, coming to you from a game called Beyond All Reason. If you ever played Supreme Commander or Planetary Annihilation, it's a very similar game, although more of a successor to a game called Total Annihilation, which is also awesome but severely dated when it comes to graphics. So this is Beyond All Reason, really awesome game, and I am here today. A little bit about myself. I'm been a gamer my whole life. Actually, Supreme Commander was my favorite game as a kid. At one point, I was ranked 30th in the global rankings for Supreme Commander. Never broke the top 10 or anything like that. My micro is too bad, but my economy game is really good. I'm an economy expert, and I'm actually here to demonstrate that. I love playing these games, and I actually really enjoyed the single player Forged Alliance scene for a long time. I really enjoyed playing that game, but for whatever reason, Beyond All Reason, the single player play doesn't it doesn't work for me as much. It's very repetitive. Build rattlesnake, defend tech. It feels like I'm playing the same game all the time. The multiplayer scene, however, is awesome, but I'm an eco guy, and front lines dominate as a 18 to 20ish ranked eco player. My games are decided by front players most of the time, right? Like my fronts don't hold for 15 to 20 minutes, and that's what eco players need to make their presence felt, right? Like, yeah, as an eco player, I can facilitate my team and maybe help with defense, but good eco players, 12 to 20 minute mark, that's when they get to do their thing. Good nuke rusher or a timing attack with a Thor or something like that, right? That's fun eco play, and I never get to do that. So this is my audition. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play one of the scenarios. So Beyond All Reason is a free to play open source game, and they have these scenarios, and I think these scenarios are hinting at the idea of a campaign in the future. Put a little story behind these, but they're really good. If you want to get into Beyond All Reason, I highly recommend the scenarios, but I do not recommend playing Catch Those Rare Comets. It is, I think, the hardest scenario in the game. You notice they have these difficulty rankings. It's 10 out of 15, but both of their 15s are benchmark scenarios. They're not actually scenarios that you play. It's just they just spawn scads of units on your screen to let you know if you can play in big multiplayer games or not. That's what these are. So these two 10s are the hardest scenarios, and Catch Those Rare Comets, in my opinion, is the hardest. The reason I think it's the hardest is because A, it's 1v3. That's even for a comp stomp, three AIs is a lot to defend against. And B, there's no wind power. One of the advantages that human players have over AI is they do much better energy wind scaling. Solar, when you have an economy based on solar power, energy scaling doesn't make sense until you get to advanced fusion reactors. Like building an abundance of tier 1 energy converters is not efficient, even for advanced solar, like an advanced solar slash T1 energy converter array takes like 4 minutes to pay off. It's absurd. So we don't have our primary advantage, our primary early advantage against artificial intelligence players is our better wind scaling, and we don't have that. So we don't have our primary eco advantage. So we have to come up with another way of beating them. So I'm actually not gonna load this scenario, but I'm gonna read the important parts for you. So this is Catch Those Rare Comets. Destroy 3 Barbarian AIs on large metal-rich flat map. They should add that there's no wind. Wind is useless on this map because that's really important. So it's a 3v1 with our primary early eco advantage. And so that makes it really difficult. And even in the description, this is in the description. If you win this scenario on at least normal difficulty, don't forget to post your replay on our Discord server for bragging rights. So that's basically exactly what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to show off my eco skills. So that I can make some friends. I have a particular streamer. There's a streamer I really enjoy his content. I'm gonna call him out. But I'm auditioning to be a solid team's eco guy here. So I'm purposely picking this scenario. I'm not gonna actually load the scenario. I have this 1v3. Spoiler alert: I won. So you see this 1v3 Comet Catcher remake. That's the map. It's me versus 3 AIs. Let's go. So this scenario sets you up on the west side of Comet Catcher, which is good. One of the things that we want to do, so we're going to make heavy use of T2 artillery. Basically, our strategy has two importance. That's when it comes to this kind of game. That's my specialty. I'm not great at micro. That's why I'm not a frontline player. But I'm good at coming up with a solid strategy.
Battle started.
And eco. I have really good eco management. And so what we're trying to do here at the beginning, one of the things that you're going to see that I do that is unusual is I'm going to use energy storage, even though I'm using solar energy. A lot of people, when they're doing eco builds, will try to avoid using energy storage when they're doing solar-based economy. And that's actually a good idea when you can afford to build extra engineers and send them all over the map and scale quick and have all that build power and that actually makes sense. But we're gonna actually end up doing a lot of walking. We have to defend ourselves. We can't scale with engineers because engineers are too difficult to defend. We end up spending a bunch of money on blitzes, and it just doesn't work. If you're trying to hunt and peck blitzes with a radar tower, you're just going to get overwhelmed. The 1v3 is too much, even though it's just the AI. So what we're gonna do is use our commander as our only source of metal because he can defend himself. He can defend himself until approximately the 15-minute mark, maybe 12-minute mark, in that window, 12 to 15-minute mark. He is completely independent. So basically what we're gonna try to do is impact the AI's behavior based on how many laser turrets we build in the pot. Now, I'm a fan of medieval warfare, and there's two generals that I like, Wikipedia as like a little nerd as a kid, right? I was a nerdy kid, and those two are Julius Caesar and Hannibal Barca. Both think are incredible people. And they both frequently used a strategy of creating intentional weaknesses in order to create a bigger payoff. And Hannibal in particular had this idea of creating a weak center in order to for that to lead to an encirclement for his heavier units, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're gonna try and create an intentionally weak center. Notice my build order here, how I have 2 laser turrets defending this back corner, and I build 4 laser turrets on each of my flanks. Right, and so basically the computer, I don't think it cheats. Like if you're watching it, it has these scouts going around all the time, and I never actually get to see those scouts. It's staying perfectly at the edge of my vision. But like the first 4 or 5 times I did this scenario, I was like, God damn it, this AI is cheating. It knows what I'm doing. It doesn't. It just has scouts on you all the time, and you never see them because it's perfect at staying at your range of vision. But it just knows where all your stuff is because it's good at scouting. So what you do is you build the deterrent. If it's good at scouting, as good as it is at scouting, it's terrible at recognizing when it has enough units to overwhelm you. Like, if they just threw all their units at me right now, I would lose. They have enough blitzes and enough small units where I would just die, right? But they don't, because these two turrets right here are literally enough for them to say no. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm aiming to build just enough defenses where they attack me at approximately the 12-minute mark. I want to build just enough deterrents to keep them off my back until the 12-minute mark, and I want them to attack right here. I want them to attack at the point where they are farthest away from reinforcing, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build an attacking force up here, right? So I'm going to create an intentional weakness here. They're going to come in, they're going to attack me, I'm going to have a metal pool here, and I'm going to reclaim that metal pool, and that reclaim of that metal pool is going to be my timing attack. That's going to be my cue to go, right? Because they've just expended some units, so they have to rebuild. I get to reclaim, so I'm particularly strong, and that's when I unleash my attack across the top. I will have the chance to do this twice before I get overwhelmed by T3 units. So that's the goal, is to create intentional weaknesses on the portions of the map that are farther away from the opponent, get them to overcommit, reclaim their stuff, and send attacks through. The reason I chose this corner is particularly valuable because you can defend 8 metal extractors with 2 tier 2 artillery, and you'll see the placement. But basically, this is the only spot on the map where you can. There's almost a set of 10 down here, actually, excluding this one, right? The box is actually like this. You can almost defend all of those with 2 T2 artillery, but in trying, you just end up getting screwed. In reality, you can only actually hold this, and that's only 7. So this is the best spot for this particular strategy. I also, once I successfully, through save scumming, started in the middle and did your typical, 3 or 4 engineers covered with blitzes, and was able to claim my quarter of the map by building chunks of T2 artillery. So basically 4 T2 artillery here, 4 T2 artillery here, and 4 T2 artillery here, and then save scummed to building defenses to a victory. But save scumming wrecks the replay file, and honestly, it was a terrible 2-hour game that I hate that I did to myself. So that's when I came up with this strategy, and obviously it was successful. You already know that, so watch. Notice that I haven't reclaimed my T1 solars. I actually do need them. They don't provide a ton of energy, and we will be reclaiming them in the long run because T1 solars are ridiculously inefficient. But watch what happens after I'm done reclaiming my T1 factory. We basically have exactly the amount of energy that we need to deliver our build power when our metal storage is gone. One of the things that I so when I'm playing streaming economies like this, right? Economies of the Supreme Commander, total analysis. See how we've settled in on at exactly the amount of energy that we need. That's awesome. So one of the when I play economies like Supreme Commander, Total Annihilation, Beyond All Reason, I like to think of my metal as a checking account and my energy as a savings account. You don't want extra money in your checking account. You don't get interest off your checking account. The extra metal storage doesn't do anything for us. Every once in a while, it's worth building up an abundance of metal storage so that you can, maybe invade in real quick and build a T2 artillery to take some space. In fact, we'll do that once in this game. But most of the time, unspent metal is just damage potential that you're wasting, right? The whole idea behind your economy is to scale so that you can build units to attack the enemy. We want to be spending all of that metal attacking the enemy. Energy, however, so everything in Beyond All Reason costs some amount of metal and some greater amount of energy. There are a few things that cost 0 energy, like solar panels. But in general, you think of energy being required to deliver build power. So it's good to have energy storage available, because that enables you to deliver build power that you otherwise couldn't afford. And that's why we built the energy storage. That's why we have 1 energy storage and 4 solar panels instead of 6 solar panels, which would be the usual build order that I see from people trying to do an eco build, is 5 or 6 solar panels. This energy storage is allowing us to do things like continue to build our advanced solar while cranking out a T2 artillery and a T2 metal extractor all at the same time, without us stalling our economy, right? See how we're spending more energy than we can afford right now. But it's not killing us because we have energy storage. If we hadn't built this energy storage, we would have stalled 4 or 5 times already. And stalling on energy is bad because metal extractors do actually take a little bit of energy to run. Notice that I'm getting plus 2.3, but it's costing me minus 3. That's not very much, but if you're stalling on energy, you do actually affect the amount of metal that you get. So we want to have excess energy. We want our energy savings account to be full. If we do want to have a little extra metal for a while, we can drag our savings thing down to the bottom. Some people like to have it at the bottom, but honestly, I like to bleed energy once in a while, or rather, I like to have extra energy income available. As of approximately the 15-minute mark of the game. In the beginning of the game, you can view wasting energy and wasting metal as approximately the same. Towards the end of a big eco build where you're spamming AFUs, you can view wasting that much energy as being bad. But for the 15-minute of a game where you're the front player that wants to be doing attacking, having your energy storage be full is actually really important. It allows you to quickly slap down expensive defenses when you need to, and it allows you to use your D-gun when you need to. It's just, you know, unless you're playing a pure eco game where your job is to just, you know, have as much metal as possible, it is good to have excess energy. All right, so my plan is starting to work here. Notice they're grouping up in the middle, and I'm gonna get 100 free metal out of that. That's actually pretty good. There's some more free metal. Oh nope, overkill. That's too bad. Okay, so watch this little thing. So I don't know if you've ever played this game without any music at all, but starting, well, you'll see. I'm gonna actually hear this coming. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop building my T2 artillery and I'm gonna force build a radar right here. And what that's gonna do right here, I start hearing them right here. And what that's gonna do is radars have good radar range, but they have good sight range as well. And so what you want to do with these early pushes is make sure that you know where their repair bots are. It's really, really important that we know where their repair bots are. Look, I'm almost done and I don't care. I stop and I build this anyway. I hear them coming and I'm like, okay, I need to get this radar up. And basically I'm getting that radar up so that I can see, oh, let me switch to me, so that I can see them and attack them. And with those repair bots gone, this T2 artillery is going to leave a big old metal pool. They're doing exactly what we wanted them to do. They're bringing a T2 rush here. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get this done in time. I have to degun a few of these units. That's probably 150 metal I just degunned away. Whatever. But this T2 artillery is gonna feast while they're destroying my mexes down here. This is an absolutely lovely trade for me, right? This T2 mexes, 2.3 metal a second. Those have to exist for like 4 minutes to account for as much metal as they're gonna leave behind here. Wasting my metal on this, because it is a waste actually. Like we had to build you know, all these laser turrets and all that, but it's great bait, and we're gonna get a healthy amount of metal out of it. So well worth it in the long run. Unfortunately, if you watch the replay, there is a reclaim bot hiding like right here and stole some of my metal, the bastard, but still I have like 700 metal there in total. It's well worth it. And another thing you notice is now that I have those T2 artilleries up, I have peace. They're leaving me alone. That's the deterrence factor. They know they can't beat me, so I have time to do whatever I want. And so basically right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking at my economy thinking, okay, what is the best thing for me to do for my economy right now? Because I want to focus on my economy until they do a major push, right? That first push, that was weak. That was just them, you know, extending their front line, right? They found their front line. I found my front line. That's what that attack was. So we're waiting for a major push. We're waiting to see like a Fat Boy or a Czar or something come down here. So until then, what we're going to do is continue spamming our attack group. I'll talk about what our attack group is composed of in a second. But basically, we are trying to get our economy to work as good as possible and then defend that space. And what I see in my economy right now is that I'm wasting a little more energy than I would like, but I don't want to build an advanced energy converter. That's not the right solution in this case. Mostly because it's so expensive on energy. It takes a long time to build, and I would have to build more energy in order to account for the fact that it's there, and it wouldn't get a ton of value because I need my energy to expand build power. So actually what the best solution in this case is to get myself just a little bit more metal so that I need to use the energy that I have available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work at claiming one more T2 metal extractor. That is what I decided. In the meantime, I'm using quota mode on my factory. I love quota mode because it balances your units. I create armies in ratios. The ratio, let me turn off so the ratio for me, there's in my first wave, I do 2 Czars to 2 Quakers to 1 Negotiator to 1 Obscurer to 1 Radar. And I hope to do that twice. So what I do is I queue up 4, 4, 2, 2, 2, and quota mode balances that for me. I'm hoping to finish my set of 4 of all of those, but I don't have to, and I'll still have a balanced force. So quota mode is really cool for creating armies with a certain unit balance. Let's talk about why we're using that unit balance. So I've stationed my Czar up here at the top of my formation. Remember, we want our bottom to appear weak, and the way we're going to make our bottom appear to be our weakness down here is to stack a couple of Czars up here. The second we have Czars up here, the computer's going to be like, yeah, let's attack this. That's much better. So we're stacking Czars up here. We have 2 Czars. We're going to have Quakers come in soon. And we add the Quakers for 2 reasons. And they're both related to how much damage an individual shot does, right? Notice the DPS on a Czar. That's 300. But most of that DPS comes in a single shot that they shoot about every 5 or 6 seconds. So if you let your Zars get finishing blows on things, you waste a ton of damage potential, because it's not very often that something needs 2 Zar shots to die, or more than 2 Zar shots to die. And second, Zars lead to massive overkill, which doesn't leave behind metal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix Zars and Quakers together. Quakers do 84 DPS, also in one shot. But it's one shot that happens more frequently. So instead of being like a 1500 damage per shot, they're at like 300 damage per shot. That is much more likely to leave us a nice little metal deposit. So 4 Zars and 4 Quakers is really what we want, and we throw in a couple of negotiators so that we can do damage to defenses without getting close enough to them for those defenses to do damage to us. So that's what the 2 negotiators are for. We hope to do 4-4-2, and then we have, of course, our radar jammer and our radar for sight. So I'm going to go back to player view. Basically, at this point, I have my eco claimed. I'm going to build a few more defenses down here. We're trying to get this game so that our commander lasts to the 40-minute mark. If the game goes any more than 40 minutes, we get absolutely overwhelmed. So we're just going to build a little bit more defenses down here, and then let our T2 factory cook. So at this point, I'm basically just waiting for them to attack. And this doesn't count. This isn't them committing. This is them throwing units away. So this does not account as a push. I'm hoping that I can claim one more mechs. I don't remember if I end up claiming it or not, but that's what I'm trying to do down here, and I don't think it ever quite works. I think I give up, and so the thing I did up top with the balancing the Zars and the Quakers, I do the same thing with T1 and T2 artillery. T2 artillery is really, really strong. I think like if you're talking about the maximum amount of damage per metal that you're putting into a thing, I think T2 artilleries are like the best you can get, except for like scout units, which is odd but true. So these T2 artilleries are really, really strong, but they have the same problem that the Zars do. They tend to lead to overkill, so we accompany them with a bunch of T1 artillery so that our T1 artillery can get finishing blows. Alright, so right about the 20-minute mark is when you expect the computer to make their first real push, so I am actively listening for it, actually. The best radar that you have is actually your ears. Turn the music off and you can hear things like the difference between a sniper and a fat boy, right? Like you can hear fat boys walking, and I actually just heard the fat boy in this area walk by. Let's see. Yeah, see, there he is. I heard him before he came onto your radar. I don't know if you know you can hear units, but you can hear units before radar picks up on them. Still hoping to claim another metal extractor. I think this fails as miserably as my first attempt. I don't remember. I intentionally only build one AFUS. I'm actually mostly building it for the excess energy economy. I'm not trying to scale. I do build the corresponding advanced energy converters for the sake of not wasting an absurd amount of energy. But that AFUS is not about economy scaling. That is 100% about having excess energy available. And I only build one of them. The rest of your eco has to go into offense. You just don't have time for another AFUS to pay off. I think I officially give up here on claiming that metal extractor and build my T1 artillery. Yep, I give up. I'm locking this area down. And that's a reasonable thing to do right now. I mean, look at our energy versus our metal. Like, we're spending our energy perfectly. It's getting us a little excess metal. We have metal storage. We're cruising this very healthy eco right now. So, not upset about it. So the name of the game on this assault, notice I got exactly what I wanted. The timing was perfect. I got my 4 Zars, I got my 4 Quakers, I got my 2 Negotiators, I got my support units. Notice what we're doing here. So we're purposely pushing the computer's bad at defending the edges of the map, right? Like, we have a free attack lane here too. So we're trying to make our 2 rocket launchers last as long as possible. And so I know at some point that they're gonna attack this flank, that they're gonna end up coming from behind, and that my rocket launchers are gonna die. So with that quota mode, I basically just doubled all of my quotas and threw in some banishers. I'll explain why we added the banishers in a second. But I'm gonna use some of those units just to fill in the gap here. This is just deterrence, right? See this sniper hanging out here. See these T2 tanks hanging out here. This is just deterrence, right? And it adds to our attack a little bit too, but it's mostly deterrence to defend our flank, because we want these negotiators to stay alive for as long as possible. Basically what we're doing is we are trying to get as deep along this L as we can into their base without losing our negotiators. The second we lose our negotiators, we're gonna stop turning our Zars are gonna go from meat shield to kamikaze. They're just gonna roll as far into their energy economy as possible. Don't bother trying to clear out the metal extractors in here. It's a waste of time. Go straight for their energy eco. So we're just gradually forcing our way to their energy eco by using these rocket launchers to do as much damage as possible, keeping our Tsars alive for as long as possible, so that when our rocket launchers die, our Tsars can go kamikaze and just F stuff up as much as possible. And that's what we're doing right now. We admitted that we got outflanked. This Tsar is too much for us. But now we have 4 healthy Tsars, 5 healthy Tsars that we get to attack them with. An orange. This orange guy is dead to rights already. Doesn't matter how long we hold this off for. We're going to be able to hold it long enough for 4 Tsars to absolutely F orange up. Ooh, look, we're gonna deny the existence of a fusion reactor. This right here makes the entire thing worth it. If that's the only kill we got, we'd be glad that we did this. This poor Quaker is holding the line. Let's go, buddy. Good job. Now notice once we clear out the Tsar, it's not attacking us anymore. They're like, no, those Tsars that you have there, I can't take those, so I'm gonna go somewhere else, and they just let us kind of F them up. If this were any other unit, they would be assaulting us right now, but since it's 5 Tsars, they leave us alone. I did some pretty good distraction work up here while we weren't looking as well. Alright, so we just wiped out Orange's energy economy. That is absolutely huge. Right now I am feeling very good about this game. This isn't really a threat to us. We might lose 1 Tsar, but like this guy's going down. Alright, so the second I lost my repair bots, I charged forward. At this point, I know my assault is over. Honestly, he could probably repair this fat boy enough just to take us down. But like, we're dead. We're dead. So we're just charging forward, trying to take out as much as we can. Right here, these shots. A bit of a conundrum here. I almost could take out these fusions, but I just didn't think I was going to have time to, so I keep attacking the advanced solars instead. I think it was the right call. And now I'm waiting for my next timing attack. That went about as good as we can expect. I have never broken into the third AI on that. It just doesn't happen. They have too much. But we took out all of Orange's energy and a good portion of Yellow's energy. And that's actually going to affect Red as well. So basically, instead of getting overwhelmed by T3 units at 35 minutes, we just bought us 40 minutes. Because Red is going to help his allies with their energy problems. Orange needs help with energy. Red and Yellow are going to supply it. And that's really going to slow everybody down. So that was a huge hit. And honestly, it went about as good as we can expect. We added banishers to this side. A, we can afford it. But B, banishers are the best T2 slow-moving unit sniper. Negotiators are not good for taking out commanders because the rockets have such a long travel time. Tsars are not good for taking out commanders because the commander can move just far enough where they never get a direct hit, so they don't actually do that much damage to them. Banishers crush. And actually, spoiler alert, my final blow comes from a Banisher. So yeah, Banishers really good at doing burst damage to units. They are comm snipers, absolutely essential for our second attack. So what we're looking for now, basically, is what we're doing now is building as many. I got a little blurry thing on my screen right here. I don't know what's going on. We're just finishing as many of that balance of a Czar to a Quaker to a Banisher to half of a Negotiator, right? So it's 2 parts Czar, 2 parts Quaker, 2 parts Banisher, 1 part Negotiator. We just want to finish as many of that in quota mode as we can, right? Queue up 100 of 100 Czars, 100 Quakers, 100 Banishers, and 50 Negotiators, and quota mode will finish them evenly balanced. So we're just trying to get as many of that combination done before we get attacked by what I call major T3 units, and in this case it's going to be that, right? And I'm going to go back to hidden mode for after this, but basically when this T3 unit and I would also put a Thor in there, right? Any of the walkers, you know, like Razorbacks aren't a major unit. I'm sorry, Razorbacks are a big T2 unit. But when these major T3 units get here, that is when we're going to start our attack. A, because we have limited time to live, so we have to. But B, because he's committed. When that T3 unit gets there, we have overwhelming force. We have 4 or 5 Czars already. And covered with Banishers this time, so the Czars and the Fat Boys are no longer a huge threat. We can fairly easily take those out with Banishers and repair. So if his T3 units are committed here, which by the way we invited, look at our positioning of this T2 artillery. See how we have this weakness here, this little area people can cut up. We didn't leave that weakness up here. Here we positioned it a little closer to the wall. So he's going to bring his T3 units up here, and we're going to defend this corner as long as we can and build up this attack force as much as we can until then. And so we are just looking for those T3 units to show up. The second those T3 units show up, we start our attack. Right there. So did you see that shot? So normally when that kind of shot shows up, you'll hear the computer say something like, long range artillery is shooting at your units. I didn't hear that, therefore I know that it's T3 artillery, because otherwise I would have heard a warning. So I know that T3 artillery is here. The second I see those shots go off, my attack starts. Look at those Banishers, just absolutely effing up those defenses. I love Banishers. See, that Razorback just doesn't have a chance. It's just zero defensive penetration ability. This is pretty huge here, so I'm going to get a couple of free Czars. This actually ends up making the difference in the game. It's kind of crazy. So you notice I'm getting really close to wasting metal. I actually wasted just a little bit there for a second. I just don't care at this point. I'm at the point where I know I'm about to die. I know they're gonna overwhelm me. I know this force is enough to win. If I can outlast it. So I basically take this eco that I have and I just start spamming Zars. I do one more banisher and I just start spamming Zars. So notice I missed these units over here. They're kind of hidden on the mini-map. I actually almost quit right here. My mouse definitely experienced a little damage due to what is about to happen. There's just not a leak that happens from these defenses ever. This is the defenses that I use, and I always end up getting overwhelmed over leaks, and so that just really sucked. That's I almost quit. Almost quit. Learned my lesson last time. I did not go for the res on that other Tsar. Would have lost my repair units. These repair units are priceless. When you have this many concentrated Tsars against the AI without its T3 units available, this is basically an unstoppable force if it has good repair. You can see the writing on the wall over here already. Notice that they're still focusing on this. So for some reason, the computer has an obsession with attacking pinpointers and radars. So I just built those pinpointers there, and they're distracted. I am currently working on just having as much of a Tsar wall as I can to defend against, the Thor and whatever this fiery nonsense is, right? Just trying to hold out as long as I can. I don't want to bum rush this yet. It's still being very effective. Notice I position my rocket launchers away from the wall. That gives them better coverage. But I do start pushing it like this was a risky push. If he had a bulwark here, I would have lost a couple of Tsars and that would have sucked. Notice I'm doing a Tsar dance over here, right? My Tsars are both scaring away the Thor and scaring away these fire demon units, whatever the hell they're called. So this is actually a delicate dance, keeping my commander alive as long as he is. Finally cornered these red guys. They're going down. Destroyed. And watch. Remember what I said about this banisher. Notice I only have one banisher here, but watch where the final shot comes from. Boom, gone. Banisher good. 5-6 Tsars got shots off on that thing. Banisher got the finishing blow. Use banishers to back up your Tsars. I barely destroy that basilisk before it gets a shot off. I barely destroy this experimental gantry before it spits a Thor out. There's just so many things have to go right for you to win this scenario. It's so difficult. Look, there's 3 fat boys coming. This is death, honestly. Even though I have that many Zars, this is death because there's still a Thor wandering around out here. If those fat boys come in with the support of a Thor, I'm gone. More fire demon work up here. I also barely escape it again. I see these Thors and I head straight for the edge of the map. This is that I'm officially bum rushing now because this is the end. These 2 Thors, they finished me completely.
Commander has died.
I start getting hit by T3 artillery here at some point. My commander is gonna be, I think he gets down to 4% health. I have 3 Zars left. Remember those true free Zars that I got? Turns out to be huge. I'm down to 4%. I cloak my commander. He's no longer on repair duty. He's just getting the hell out. So the Zars that I have here, this is what I have left. This is my forces. I spot the enemy commander, and I immediately send my banishers at him. A 1 shot, he cloaks. He's visible for a second, and my banisher
destroyed.
I don't have those banishers with me. I don't win the game.
Battle ended.
Let's take a look at our chats real quick. So stats real quick. So when it comes to stat preferences, my goals are in the following order: minimize wasted metal, maximize metal that I earn, maximize energy that I earn, minimize energy that I waste. That's my priorities. Minimizing energy waste specifically last because it's not as important. So let's check those out. So where's my excess metal? None until I get attacked at the end of the game. This is perfect. Let's look at metal produced. So even though I'm going up against a computer that has way more map than me, I keep up until my timing attack. And that's good tech. That's good teching. That's the energy storage paying off. That's all sorts of stuff helping me do that. But this is really hard to do against the computer on that map. Let's look at energy produced. So I completely destroy the computer in energy produced. I would have destroyed them by even more if I had not had that little flamey demon leak. That sucked. But even though I'm using my energy storage, and that's the energy storage thing paying off, right? That energy storage thing pays off with interest, and that's exactly what that looks like, right? So the compound interest of building up the energy savings, not wasting the metal, being able to build our advanced solars a little sooner, being able to freely put energy into building our build turret. And all that stuff. That's our energy storage. 4 solars and an energy storage when you have walking to do is really, really powerful, and that's what that curve looks like. That's that curve paying off. And then energy excess, very little early game. And then here's the important part about this isn't exponentially increasing. This is a linear increase of energy waste. Wasting energy is healthy as long as you're not wasting exponential amounts of it. And this is linear, right? So approximately here we finish our fusion, we start burning a little bit of energy, that's okay. Here we finished our advanced fusion, we start burning a little bit of energy, that's also okay. We want to have excess energy. This to me is what a perfect eco game looks like. Have a good day. And hit me up if you need an eco guy.